Hello, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. The ladder just reset a few days ago, so this week I'm going to be focusing on decks that I think are going to be great for climbing the ladder. And the first one up is this awesome Battlefront skeleton deck. Now, I found this deck on the internet a couple of weeks ago. It started popping up all over the place, but this specific list came from Mulligan Menace's channel. I'm going to put a link to that person's channel down in the description. It's a new channel, it's growing very quickly. It's an awesome channel that a lot of people seem to like, so go check out that content. And this deck, it's got something special going on with it. I've played 16 games with this deck so far, 88% win rate. You know that's not going to hold up once I hit the record button, but still, last season, playing in Mythic, this deck was proving itself to be very powerful. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the deck for a few minutes, and then we're going to hop into some games as we usually do. Now, this deck is built around the power of the enchantments that make skeletons in Standard, along with some other enchantment synergies and United Battlefront. So the bread and butter of the deck, of course, is Corpses of the Lost, a 3 CMC enchantment. It gives skeletons +1/+0 and haste. It also creates a 2/2 skeleton pirate creature token when it enters, and then we can bring this back to our hand if we descend and pay 1 life. Descend is each time a permanent card is put into your graveyard from anywhere. It has to be a permanent card, that's a little bit important, but it is from anywhere. So if we have to discard something, if we have to surveil something, we can activate the Descend in multiple ways and bounce this back to our hand quite a bit. The other important skeleton card is the Case of the Stash Skeleton. This one creates a 2/1 black skeleton creature token, and it is suspected. Suspect means that it has menace and can't block. Also, if we solve this case, we can sacrifice it for 2 mana and go and get anything from our library. And the last skeleton, not the enchantment skeleton, but it is the Forsaken Miner, a 1 CMC 2/2, which is super powerful. So just 3 skeleton cards in the deck, but they are powerful. And the reason they're powerful is because they work very well with Optimistic Scavenger, which is going to give a +1/+1 counter every time an enchantment enters the battlefield, and then a Most Helpful Weaver. This card with the Corpse of the Lost is absolutely fantastic. A Most Helpful Weaver has 3 modes. The first mode, create a 2/1 spider creature token. Pretty cool. Then the next one is going to be putting a +1/+1 counter on that creature. Now, I want to warn y'all about this card, the second mode, because it does have a little bit of a weirdness to it. It has a little bit more text. It says, that creature becomes a legendary spider hero in addition to its other types. As a little bit of a warning, you can have 2 of these on the field. You activate both of those second modes. Well, if you, let's say, put the +1/+1 counter on a spider, and then you put a +1/+1 counter on another spider, you are going to legend rule yourself. So do be careful where you are putting the +1/+1 counter from the second, what is it called? The second step, because you might end up having to sacrifice one of your creatures. However, if you put the +1/+1 counter on differently named creatures, then you will have 2 differently named legendary creatures, and you'll be fine. Just be careful with that. I'm only telling you this because it may or may not have happened to me in a game. I'll leave that up for you to decide. And then the third mode is the mode that we really care about. Give a creature double strike until the end of turn. This is super cool because we are a very aggressive deck. We're going to have creatures on the field turns 1, turn 2, and turn 3 most of the time. We are also playing 3 copies of Authority of the Console, so we're going to be removing the opponent's blockers a lot of the time, gaining a little bit of life, just an annoying card. We're also playing Seam Rip because it's an enchantment for removal. Also pumps up when we have the Optimistic Scavenger on the field. Playing Shelter by Ghost does the same thing, gives us a little bit of lifelink. How fantastic is that? And then we were playing Lord Skitter's Blessing. This is our little bit of card draw in the deck. It's a 2 CMC enchantment. When this enchantment enters, one of our creatures is going to get a Wicked Roll token attached to it. That's going to give it +1/+1, and when that creature dies and the Wicked token is put into our graveyard from the battlefield, each opponent will lose 1 life. But the main reason for playing this is that at the beginning of your draw step, if you control an enchanted creature, you lose 1 life and you draw an additional card. So you'll have an enchanted creature from the Wicked roll that is on a creature, or if you have a creature that is enchanted with Shelter by Ghost, that's also going to trigger it. And then lastly, well, United Battlefront, because we are playing a lot of non-creatures. The only creatures in the deck are Optimistic Scavenger and Forsaken Miner. Everything else can get hit by United Battlefront. Now, usually with United Battlefront, you want to play a lot of 3 CMC non-land permanent cards, but, non-creature, non-land permanent cards. But we are playing a whole bunch of enchantments, so it is going to work really well with United Battlefront. It is a great way to close out a game. Land base is what you would expect in Orzhov. We are playing 1 creature land with the Soulstone Sanctuary, and that is the deck. It looks strange. I know the first time I saw this, I didn't think it was going to be very powerful, but as soon as you start playing it, you really see how all of these cards come together in such a beautiful way. It ends up being such a powerful deck that opponents just can't deal with, and it absolutely runs over opponents when they have no idea what's going on, or if they have a little bit of a slow start. So that is the deck. We're going to hop into some games and see how this one turns out. Hopefully well. See you over there. All right, new ladder, new opportunities for frustration climbing up this wonderful ladder. But we got a pretty fun deck to play. Opening hand looks pretty cool. A little bit of a long intro for this one, but I did want to fully explain everything going on with this deck because there are seemingly a lot of moving pieces with this one, but it is a whole lot of fun to play. We are against Cecil, so we got a pretty good answer to Cecil here. We're going to go out with the Forsaken Miner and the Seam Rip. We're not letting old Ceci here survive. And if they end up having a follow-up to Cecil, we do have the Sheltered by Ghost next turn. Should be pretty good. So pretty good start for us. Always love being on the play, but we are down to 3 cards. While I got a minute here, do like and subscribe. Guys, help the channel continue to grow. Lots of new people coming in all the time. Hello to all you new folk, and appreciate everyone joining up. So the opponent deals with our Shelter by Ghost, but we do have an Optimistic Scavenger Part 2 and an Authority of the Console to continue pumping up things. Let's just spread the love. We'll put it on the Optimistic Scavenger, and we'll get in for 5 damage, take the opponent down to 13, and we're going to need a little bit of help off the top of our deck. Corpses of the Lost is going to be absolutely the best draw. Also, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you're going to be climbing with, and if there are any decks that you want to see. I think this week probably I'm going to be trying out Rabbits again. And the reason I'm going to be trying out Rabbits again is because somebody said, hey, can you play a new updated version of Rabbits? I'm curious to see what it's looking like. And you know what? Absolutely, we will do that. So if you want to see some other decks, do let me know down in the comments. Always looking for ideas of things to play. Demon Wall from the opponent, but it does come in and tapped, so that's good. Double Demon Wall, and we are not getting through that unless we find a Corpse of the Lost. And we get a, okay. Lord Skitters, not bad. We'll put the +1/+1 there. Let's spread it out a little bit. That's going to be a 3/3. Yeah, we'll do like this. So we get a 4/4 and a 3/3, and the enchanted creature is the Forsaken Miner, so they'll have to kill that unless, if they don't want us drawing a card next turn. Unstoppable Slasher, man, Authority of the Console's working overtime here. Draws something good. Oh, okay. The Most Helpful Weaver's not bad, but it's definitely going to be slowing us down. Now, I mean, it's not going to be giving us the option to just keep swinging in. I think I'm going to put it on the Forsaken Miner. We get that. I'm not attacking, though, because of these Demon Walls. I think I got to just ease up for a second and hopefully not die to this Unstoppable Slasher. If they have the, what is his name, blah blah of Aklazots, I don't know. I always forget what the big flying demon thing is. Terrible with names. Attack. Oh, okay, bad draw, and not a bad draw. Ooh, that's actually a fantastic draw. Is that a lethal draw? I think it is. We got him. So opening up, we get back our wonderful enchantment, and we can, where are we going to put it? We're going to put it here, I guess. It doesn't matter what we're doing. Get rid of the Unstoppable Slasher, put the +1/+1 on this fella, and they can only block 2 things, so we are definitely getting in for lethal. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Good way to open. On the draw, of course. And the opponent played out a lot of good stuff, but in the end, not enough. Good. Good opening. Let's keep it going. I believe in this deck. I want to believe. All right. Game number 2. And yeah, another good looking hand. We have black and white mana. We have a turn 3 Corpse of the Lost. We have a little bit of removal and an awesome turn 1. Either way, either we're removing something or we're playing out our wonderful Scavenger. This card always impressing me. It's just so fantastic. And since the opponent doesn't have a turn 1, I think I'm going to take the risk of running out the most optimistic creature. I'm noticing now there isn't the ghost in the background. However, on the splash art that I think I used for one of my thumbnails very recently, the blue-white artifacts deck, I'm pretty sure there was like a spirit hanging out in the background. Well, that's the easiest scoop up of my life. We'll put the +1/+1 counter on our creature, of course. And I suppose we get in for 2. Next turn, Corpses of the Lost with the option of maybe going out with a Seam Rip or a Shelter by Ghost if something devastating comes down. Spirit plus Spider. What you doing over there? What did Tim Golden Boy cook up? Well, Tim Golden Boy, I'm sorry. I'm going to just be a little bit lame and I'm going to go this route. So we're going to eat that. +1/+1 there, and of course they scoop it up. So we found the removal end of our deck against a spider deck, and that's going to be pretty rough for the opponent. What can you do? All right, we're having a little bit too much luck with this deck. I'm sure this is where it all falls apart. I'm just waiting for this deck to hit the bad bit of RNG. I know it's going to happen. Opening hand looks pretty good again. We haven't seen the United Battlefront yet, but maybe this game is looking like one where we might get there. However, this card right here these days kind of indicates Kona Omniscience to me, and, well, that's going to be a little bit rough. Never know. Next turn, Authority of the Consuls plus Forsaken Miner is not a bad way. Okay. This could be Kavaro instead. Ooh, Strategic Betrayals. Real rough. All right, so we did get to our United Battlefront on turn 4 with that Soulstone Sanctuary, so not too bad, but if the opponent ends up having a good 3/4, I think it might just be game over, right? That's how these Kavaro decks work. It is Kavaro. Isn't everybody... Aren't you loving Kavaro? They put a Terror of the Peaks and a Kavaro, the namesake card, in the graveyard. So, I suppose we will put out the Godless Shrine, attack in with that, Optimistic Scavenger to the field, and we'll hold on to the Shelter by Ghost. I suppose I could have sheltered to take the Town Greeter, but I don't, no. We're not going to win that way, and we just kind of got to hope that they don't have it. Okay, that's a much better target for a future Shelter by Ghost. Still, this turn, I think we're going to do the United Battlefront, hope for the best, and try to get over... Yeah, we're going this way. So we hit pretty well. We could take, I think, well, 100% we're taking this. Are we going to also take this, or are we taking the Most Helpful Weaver? I think you take the Most Helpful Weaver. It's just a more powerful card in the end, even though it is not a skeleton. So we'll put this on her. We'll put another one on her. Boom, boom, and we are certainly attacking in for 6 damage. And we are back to the position of hoping that they don't have a way of reanimating. Is this really a big problem? Maybe. Terra's pretty good, but it's only going to be good when they're doing the Last Springer full combo. They need something big here, because we might just be able to kill them. This Shelter by Ghost will take this Steam Core Scholar, and I guess that's GG. Yeah, we were just slightly fast enough. There's the bringer of the last gift that would end the game, but we have enough damage on the field. We have even more damage on the field. Like, this deck is amazingly explosive. Even this is lethal, right? We don't need this. We're going to do it because we're going to BM the Kavaro player 100%. Should have got the Overlord. Yeah, that felt real clean. We did get lucky that they didn't have it on turn 4 though. If they had a better hit with that first town greeter, wherever he went, I don't even know where it went to. I went back to hand. If they had a better hit with this thing, we would have been toast. All right, if things keep going this way, I'm going to be mythic before I know it. Actually, kind of fun. I did see something a little bit weird this morning. The ladder just reset. I think it reset last night. And so it has been less than 24 hours since it reset. And this morning when I was on my way to work, I saw a post by Hello Good Game actually on the Magic Arena subreddit, and he was saying that somebody had already hit Mythic, but they weren't Mythic 1, they were Mythic 74%, which is just weird. It must have been some mistake, because anybody that's hitting Mythic after 5 hours of the ladder restarting certainly would be Mythic 1, or at least within the first top 1200, right? Like, there's no way that there are that many people hitting Mythic within 5 hours. It's impossible. Okay, the opponent had an abrade for us, but we have a turn 4 United Battlefront, and the United Battlefront bringing another Corpses of the Lost. We're getting in for 4 with this little fella. I'd love to find a Most Helpful Weaver very soon so that I can return both of these to my hand and start going to town. The opponent, I don't know what they're up to. A Braid, very cool looking Braid. I don't know if I've ever seen that art. And the Esper Origins. So they shock... Outcaster Trailblazer. Yikes. Okay. Well, the thing about that is we're going to get in for 8 damage here, and we're going to be presenting lethal. And anything that they put in is going to come in tapped. And we do have removal. That being said, they might be able to combo, but I don't think they can combo through the authority of the consoles, right? Can they remove the skeletons is the bigger question. And can they remove both of the skeletons with 5 mana, now 2 mana, at a discount? Everything's getting a little bit discounted now with this Teamer Battlecrier. But I don't know. I think we might be able to run them over here. They're also going to have to use... okay, 3 mana. I was going to say they also have to use life with their starting towns, which might still be the case. Esper Origin, they use 1 life, but they gain back 2 life. Okay. They're still dead on board. They have 1 open mana. They have no open mana. So, can they play cards for free? Yes, they can. Oh my god, this deck is crazy. Are these Authority of the Consoles, though, going to save us? Okay, these Vestiges are also going to go back to hand and allow them to put some 5 CMC things into play. So at least the Cactus could come in. As long as they don't have something that blasts our skeletons, we're okay. Okay, Cactus I'm fine with. Here it is, last one. What is it? We actually need both skeletons now. They gained up to 6 life. When they're at 5 life... Oh no. Oh no, do those hit face or any target? Deal 2 damage to each opponent for each of those... Did we gain enough life that we can survive? Wait, that didn't... I don't know how this card works. I thought all those cards go into exile and then we just take a whole bunch of damage. Yay! We did. The Authority of the Consoles win. Yay! We did it. Woo! Okay, let's see if this gravy train keeps rolling. We're getting lucky with some of these matchups. I think the opponent's having very powerful things, but whew, who would have known that Authority of the Consoles was such a powerful card and just shuts down the old Teamer combo, whatever that thing, Battlecrier combo. Opening hand this time around looks a little bit funky, a little bit weak, but if we can get a good seam rip and kind of something good on turn 3, we got a couple of draws before turn 3, and then of course we do have the guaranteed Battlefront. I think I haven't been saying hello. I haven't been increasing my win rate. Okay. Uh-oh. Who is it this time? Gene Pollinator. I think the Gene... Do you hit a gene pollinator? No. No, 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 no. No, no. We'll wait for... I might regret that, but I think I'm going to wait on it. Llanowar Elf. That's fine. Is this going to be a Simic Drunith deck? Kind of looking that way, isn't it? So we do hit the second Seam Rip. So I think it's probably fine just to rip. We'll smoke this one first. Do they have hexproof for the Gene Pollinator? No, they have a Flood Pitch Drowner. Okay. Well, now I'm regretting hitting that thing. But we are going to take the Flood Pitch Drowner, I think, over the Llanowar Elf. Maybe I'm going to regret that one too, because now they have 4 mana. I am filled with regret. Immense regret. Oh, what a dumb person. Yeah, I mean, I play the deck. I know what it does. Maybe I just got a little bit too confident with myself with all these wins, things going properly for once, and now we're going to have to deal with a 4/4, which we can. However, I'm a little bit surprised that they did not offspring the Paw Patch. I think I probably would have done that. This gives a little bit of protection for their stuff, but I mean, this is huge. Oh, wait. Ouch. So, I think probably I have to get rid of the Ouroboride now, right? We're dead if we don't. And I could have taken the risk of... Oh, no. I forgot about that. Are we dead? No, we're not dead. Because we are going to gain 3 life here. We could have taken the risk of hitting the Battlefront, but not worth it. Okay, another Innkeeper's Talent. Not the worst. So it's possible I could bounce back here, gaining a little bit of life each turn with this Menace Skeleton will mitigate some of this horrific damage that is coming at my face, but not enough of it. Okay, so... is it most helpful Weavers, or do we take the chance on the United Battlefront? YOLO? They have ward ×2, so I cannot actually remove the creatures if I do hit a ward thing. This allows me to chump block... this has trample. And they're 1 power. I don't know. I think we're just dead. These are not good enough, right? Seam Rip would have been fantastic if they hadn't gotten the Innkeeper's Talent. Yeah, GG opponent. Good on ya. We can hope they make a mistake, but I think we are done. So did I hit good game? No, I don't think I did. All right, this is where it comes to an end. My mistake of not hitting the Llanowar Elf. Always hit the Llanowar Elf. What was I thinking? The Flood Pitch Drowner is a 2/1. It's not going to do anything. It tapped down its thing already. You know, it's on the field. What was I thinking? But allowing them to have the 4 mana. They got stuck at 3 mana. That Ouroboride would have been stranded in their hand. So lesson learned to anybody watching. Don't be like this guy. Bolt the bird or Seam Rip the elf. Whatever you have to do. That was a rough one. Thinking back now, why did I hit the Gene Pollinator as well? Oh well. Ooh, opening hand looks spicy. You like this looking hand. So, turn 1, of course, Optimistic Scavenger, my favorite card in the world. Starting town into... what? Do we take some damage? You know what? I think I'm going to go out with the most helpful Weaver. Put a +1/+1 on the Scavenger and attack in for 2. Opponent on Boros. Is it burn? Do they have a way of removing our Scavenger before it gets up to 4 toughness? I think 4 toughness makes it feel a little bit safe. We'll see. They might be holding the removal for whatever. I'm going to put the +1/+1 counter on. Oh, it's so good for us. Yeah, it's still fine. That delightful. So we will make our Optimistic Scavenger a legendary creature. We are going to put it at the Scene Rip. We're going to hit the Ember Heart, and we're going to put it up to 4/4. So 4/4 is that break point where I think it's just insurmountable for... It's not insurmountable, but it's so tough for the opponent to deal with because they can deal 2 and they can deal 3 damage very easily, but not 4. Okay, they do have the Screaming Nemesis, so we do need to find our Sheltered by Ghost now, and we hit... Not great. So, what do? Now I'm actually doing 4 damage to the Screaming Nemesis. Imagine that. They can take care... Oh, this card. So if I put the +4 or the double strike on this card... Yes, I could attack in. I'm going to deal 4 damage. They'll probably kill my Optimistic Scavenger. Am I doing that? So if I do this, I'm still getting in for 4 damage. But they're going to be able to deal 4 damage to the Optimistic Scavenger. But the Nemesis is gone. Let's do it. I do have the Soulstone Sanctuary, so it's possible that I might be able to load that up on following turns. Yeah. Okay. So they dealt with the Scav. It's fine. It's fine. Actually, I might just load up the Soulstone Sanctuary on end step here, depending on what they put out. We are flooding. Always wonderful. Good luck comes with a nice wave of bad luck. That's just the way Magic Arena goes. Every single time you go on a hot streak, you're going to find the bad streak. Attack, 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 attack. What? Okay. Yes, sir. We need 1 point of damage. Why? Why? Of course, we're not going to find 1 point of damage. This deck doesn't have a lot of 1 points of damage. However, it didn't have to be a land. Why did it have to be a land? I feel like I'm losing my mind tonight. Maybe I'm in one of those moods. I did just come back from the movie theater. Saw Black Phone 2. If you've seen it, let me know what you think about it in the comments. I've been... The other 2 people I've talked about it with, mixed opinions, to say the least. So Lightning Helix going back up to a comfy 4 life, which is hard for us to deal with now. And we have our 2 creatures that are not looking too powerful. And oh my god, another Screaming Nemesis. This game, it's... Oh, they turned the corner. DMR. Turn in the corner. Screaming Nemesis is an absolute tank against our deck. We don't have any way of dealing with it. That's not the worst card. So let's put that in. But the thing is... Oh, wait, it's lethal. Right? What am I saying? I'm sitting here, like, debating. I was almost not going to attack. Corpses of the Lost, the best card in the deck. I almost got inside my own head, and I wasn't focusing properly. I'm becoming delirious. We got 1 more game to go. All right, our 7th and final game against Takanasi. Takanasi? Sure. And we get to go first. Our hand is a little sketch, but we do have the Lord Skitter's Blessing, a card that has not really shown up too often in these matchups. Only 2 in the deck. I would like to see it actually start drawing a few cards for us. Llanowar Elf. Did we learn our lesson about not killing the Llanowar Elf? We absolutely did not. And we're going to try to value drawing cards. All right, get in for 3. Opponent down to 16. They now potentially have up to 3 mana. What are they going to do with 3 mana? Oh, it's Simic again. It's Drunith. Oh, no. And do they have a 1 CMC card to activate Drunith? Oh, they have so much mana. Okay, we find not a land. Okay, we find a land. So, here's the question. Does this need to hit a... Does this need to hit an Ouroboride? And I think, without question, it does. So I can't hit the Drunith. If they have a 2 CMC card, it's going to be pretty good for them. I'm going to risk going in. If they could triple block, they don't triple block. So they conserve a little bit of their life total. Oh, man. The Imago. Okay, so their Drunith is getting up to 3. That's scary. If we hit a land, though, United Battlefront, gonna be good. Do they have a land? They do have the land. So they can put +3/+3 or change 3/3 into these two creatures and attack us for a little bit more damage. Ooh, come on, land off the top. They're down to one card in hand. What is that last card? We get a sheltered. Okay, land? Not. Okay. Well, in that case, I think we just get rid of the Drunith. And we put the plus... Yeah, why not? I suppose. And then we get in for some damage. We get rid of one of these Imagos. We do have the backup... We do have the backup Sheltered by Ghost if they end up finding the... yeah, why not? If they do end up finding the Ouroboride. They have tons of mana, 6 mana. They can do basically anything they want. This is the problem with the Drunith deck. And somebody in the Discord, by the way, we do have a Discord. Every time I mention somebody mentioning something in the Discord, I gotta mention that... What? Somebody in the Discord mentioned that... Ow. That these decks have a problem because they have a lot of 1CMC mana dorks that encourage, that Drunith encourages playing. We'll go with... We are not getting lucky is what's happening here. Do you hit the Imago or the Drunith? I think we will go after the Drunith, I suppose. And we'll just hope that this Forsaken Miner can keep smashing in, gaining us a bunch of life, and that this United Battlefront isn't going to be as bad as that last one. Oh my gosh, everything is going against us now. Desist. Imagine somebody hitting us with a desist. Paw Patch Recruit, Offspringed. That's good. Okay, that's pretty good, but I think I'm still going to go out with the United Battlefront. Come on, give me some action. Yep. Yep. That was one hit in the top 10, right? It's 5 cards? No, top 7. And so look at the top 7 cards. So in 14 cards, we had one non-land, non-creature. Maybe the deck's not built properly. Maybe it's a deck problem. Unfortunately, this most helpful Weaver is not going to be able to... Okay. I gotta start getting in on everything. So we're gonna Seam Rip the Paw Patch. We're gonna put the +1 on the Optimistic Scavenger. They're gonna put the +1 on the Gene. Yeah, but I can't actually get in yet. Do I attack with the Forsaken Miner, or do I put the Shelter? Yeah, let's just attack with the Forsaken Miner first. 1. Okay, good. As expected. And you know what? I'm not too scared of this Imago. So we're going to put out the most helpful Weaver. I'm really worried about not being able to hit an Ouroboride with this Sheltered by Ghost. It's the card that absolutely blows it apart. Wow. Opponent, you literal god. A god. Over there. All right. We do still get to get it in. They can't kill the miner, so that's not a great attack. Okay. No, let's put it on the Optimistic Scavenger. We'll make a 2/1. I am amazingly flustered. Okay. They are still chump blocking, so that's great. They have to. Next turn, with this Shelter by Ghost, if they stumble, we might be able to squeeze by them. But it's not enough damage, and we need another couple turns. Okay, but this Imago is going to start getting a little bit bigger, 6/6. We are at 48 life, though, mind you. Man. Imagine having just 2 Cease Desist in a best-of-1 random game. That's what we needed. This is all we needed. Is it enough? It might actually just be enough to let us win. So we're going to put the +1/+1 on this skeleton. And I don't know. We're just going to go in with everything. Just send the team. Send the crew. They have to block everything. There you go. Okay. They do get one favorable block with the Imago. You may as well put the Judith in front of the 2-1. Yeah. They're going to go down to 1. Okay. We still have 3 creatures on the field. They have 2 cards in hand. What nightmarish things could they possibly have for us? If Drunith is not good enough, what a game. Does this backfire? Do they have... I'm going to put it on this, because if they remove it, at least we get the case of the Stash Skeleton. Oh. The unbelievable end to this video. I can't imagine a more insane, interesting game coming out of that Simic deck. Whoa, opponent. We just got lucky that they didn't find their big stuff like the Ouroboride. All right, so the United Battlefront skeleton deck is a heck of a lot of fun to play. I'm sure if you play it enough, you're going to run into your bad variants and you're going to start losing games, whatever. But there are a lot of cards in this deck that are very powerful in the meta. Shelter by Ghost is obviously going to be a very powerful card against your burn and your aggro matchups, right? If you can get this onto a big creature, the opponents can have a really hard time dealing with it. If you saw in that last matchup, like we were up to what, 48 life, just because we had a Forsaken Miner that was attacking in, because things get huge in this deck with the Optimistic Scavenger. Also, we do make a nice wide board, so things that can't block a whole bunch of things coming in from all angles really can't hold up against this deck. And then we also saw some games where Authority of the Consuls absolutely hoses the opponent. So this deck playing a lot of very good tech cards that are good in the meta currently, but are also really working well with the overall theme of the deck and the synergies within the deck. So I really love whoever cooked this deck up. I don't know who the original creator is. Like I said, I got this specific list from Mulligan Menace. I have seen other creators playing it. It was kind of a hot deck for 1 week, a couple of weeks ago. But it's kind of like faded a little bit. But I think there's a lot of potential here. And again, most importantly, this deck is super fun. As far as budgetary concerns go, it's not a budget deck. There are a lot of expensive cards in this deck, right? All of these cards are going to be rares, not a whole lot of uncommons and commons, and then your land base is, well, I don't know, if you have your Orzhov land base and you have your starting towns, it's not so painful, but getting into this deck would be a tough one because it is a relatively expensive deck. Anyways, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a whole lot of fun. Take care for now, and I'll be back with more what I believe to be good meta climbing decks. Is that a good way to say it? I don't know. Sarange Ipona, and bye-bye for now.